Hi, everybody. Welcome to another very special Our Community Access. I'm with Dr. Janelle Makoviak, and you are from the Cherry Tree Natural Wellness
Cherry
Center.
Blossom
Cherry
Natural
Blossom. I do
Wellness.
that every time. Cherry Blossom. And blossoms are much more beautiful than the tree. Dr. Mack is back in the house.
Hi.
Welcome, Mack.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gosh, it's only been a couple weeks
I
since
think
we saw
so.
you last. That's great. There's so much I always want to talk to you about, but we agreed last time we talked, and I do have some issues about talking about gut issues.
Sure.
Gastrointestinal
Oh, and there's
discomfort.
many,
is what it is.
so many to
Yeah,
consider
so
for sure.
I guess what maybe we should start with is what are the common causes
So,
of gastro issues or pain or
yeah,
whatever you
well,
want to call it.
I think the common causes of gastrointestinal discomfort can be things like obvious one is what are you eating?
Yeah.
So food sources, along with if we have insensitivities, if we have intolerances, if we have allergies to those foods, not only foods, but what makes up foods as well. So
sure.
example, some people might be more prone to being sensitive to more fibrous foods or having a lot of fiber can lead to a lot of gas, a lot of bloating, or lactose from
Sure.
different dairy products, of course.
Sure.
I've seen everywhere from really bad stomach cramping, diarrhea, all the way to constipation. So it really runs the gamut.
And how about boxed foods? All the stuff that
so-
might be in those.
I really try to educate my patients on really try to avoid as many additives as possible. Try to get farm to table type foods.
Lovely,
Things that we can get in the most natural way, as opposed to them having
Mm-hmm.
preservatives in them or being processed or ultra processed foods.
Sure. I can imagine that wreaks havoc with your body. And we were talking prior to the camera being turned on about our smoothies in the morning.
Yes.
And you made it sound so simple. You have beets in it every morning, and I love beets.
Almost every morning. So
Love them.
it's really easy. And again, folks, if you're not used to veggies in your smoothie, it's not going to
a great
taste
way to do
super
it.
sweet, but it's a great way to get in some good amount of fiber, get those veggies in. Again, I recommend at least 5 to 7 servings of veggies every single day. So I a lot of times like to use celery, spinach. I'll do some carrots, beets. Yeah, so beets, I love them. Some people always tell me, "Ooh, Dr. Mack, those taste like dirt." Sometimes, yes, but they're very, very good for our cardiovascular system. They produce nitric oxide, which helps expand our blood vessels, giving us better blood flow, etc. That's an easy way of putting it. But I also do include a little bit of fruits in the smoothie as well, because a veggie shake really isn't all that tasty.
So you throw a banana or an apple in there. It's
just a couple.
enough.
It's frozen fruit. I just a couple slices of banana, usually some berries, and then I always will include some sort of protein in there. I know we talked about processed food, so one time a day I will do a processed food. I'll do a protein, or you can actually put egg whites. So egg whites is an excellent way to get in protein, and get that good amount of protein in the smoothie in the morning.
When we were talking about it, you said, I just boil the beets and slice it up and throw it in there. If you get in that routine, it's not a problem.
No.
So if you're working Monday through Friday, I know you work way more than that, but so if you take a day
Yes.
And boil up those beets, throw them in the
Yeah,
fridge, throw them
yeah.
in the freezer, or like the bananas, throw it all. Take one day and
Yeah.
prepare
So
your food.
take a few hours out of your
Yeah.
day, meal prep.
Yeah.
Again, you only have one cleanup when
Well, that's true.
you're doing meal prep, as
Never thought of
opposed to
that.
I'm cleaning after every single meal. I have
Sure.
to slice everything every single meal.
Oh, it's true.
So I can tell you, I will take celery and chop it all up into like little, tiny little bits and
Sure.
put that in a container. I take carrots, chop them up, put them into a container. I boil beets with a little bit of vinegar, white vinegar, and it helps to not stain your hands.
No kidding. Good to
and
know.
just boil them so the peel almost comes right
Yeah, it sure
off, and then
does.
just slice those up, put those in a container. So in the morning, it's really easy to get together. You can go one step further and put those ingredients in separate containers. So all you got to do is dump it in your smoothie jar, smoothie
yeah.
container, or put it in your smoothie glass. Most smoothie makers come with more than one of those
Yes. Yeah.
mixers,
Yep.
mixer cups.
Right.
So you can easily, get 3, 4, 5 of those together. Again, I like to use frozen
idea.
fruit, so that stays in the freezer. Again, put it in a little baggie, throw it in the freezer, so it's all ready to
idea.
go.
Yeah.
Super easy to make in the morning.
So, I, in the past, and I've been doing smoothies for years, I've had issues with some kinds of proteins.
Sure.
So if people have a sensitive gut,
Sure.
what should they stay away from in terms of protein
Well,
besides dairy? And dairy is an issue for me for sure.
Well, I mean, it really depends on the source of the protein. So again, coming to see someone like myself, a naturopathic doctor, can help you determine those food sensitivities or allergies. We can also look for intolerances. But protein powders come in different forms. There's whey protein, which is a dairy protein. And again, some people can be sensitive to that. But then some people say, well, if I have a vegan patient, they want to stick to a more plant-based program.
Which would, how would you get proteins from a plant?
Yeah, so there's different sources.
Beans,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
Oh,
So
okay.
a lot of our protein powders,
God.
we see a rice protein or a pea or a bean, a lentil type protein. Even almond flour, almond. We
Oh,
can
that
get,
makes
we can
sense
get from nuts. We can get protein from hemp protein. When it comes to soy, I always recommend organic soy. Do you know that with soy, a lot of time, if it doesn't say organic, manufacturers actually put insecticides and pesticides. Engineered into the seed.
Oh my
And,
goodness, I had no idea.
We're not supposed to be processing those things. Like we were not made in order to process those things. So again, this is why I encourage everyone to make sure, if you're able, choosing organic or non-GMO foods, because that can play a significant role in your health.
Oh my goodness, of course, when you have that kind of stuff in there. And so going back to the vegetables, everything that you put in your smoothie in the morning, and certainly the 7 times a day, we are at a time right now and in a community that we're surrounded by farmer markets.
Yes.
And those are more organic because they're farm to table, right?
Well, maybe not necessarily organic because they can be using fertilizers, insecticides in their local, yes, but unless they're certified organic or using organic means, just because it's local does not mean that it's organic. Does
And
that
it
make
doesn't hurt
sense?
to ask them.
No, never hurts to ask.
Good. I love that. Okay, we're going to continue to talk about gut health, just because that happens to be my subject right now, when we come back, so don't go away. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our community access. Dr. Mack is in the house. And we were talking about gastrointestinal issues, and that's a whole tree of that covers different symptoms, right?
A plethora of different things.
What kind of things would you look at that you might go, okay, that is a gastrointestinal issue?
Sure.
Somebody comes in, say, constipated.
Sure.
Of course, it's probably what they're eating, but it's going through their entire system. So
Sure. So, I mean, there's so many different gastrointestinal issues. We have constipation, we have diarrhea, we have heartburn, we have gastroesophageal reflux disease, pancreatic insufficiency, diverticulitis or diverticulosis, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's.
Oh,
Those
so
are
painful.
two type of autoimmune gastrointestinal issues, bloating, and on and on and on. I mean, there is a definite plethora of those. But going back to constipation, as a naturopathic physician, you know, I take a multi-pronged approach. So I'm going to talk to someone about their dietary habits, like what are you eating? What are you eating? You know, what things could possibly contribute? Could it be food sensitivities, intolerances, etc., that could be causing some of the constipation? Hydration. So hydration plays a huge role, and I can't explain.
And so
sometimes
many different
it's
things.
So simple. It's so simple. Drink
Yeah.
enough water.
Right.
Drink water. Herbal tea counts as water. Again, if we're drinking things with caffeine in them, that can actually dehydrate us a little bit. We have to consider the weather. Are we working out? All these different things. Taking, you know, what type of medications are you taking? Could that also contribute to dehydration? So I would take that into account. Do you have a regular routine, or are you only having a bowel movement once or twice a week?
well, let's go there. Is that an unusual thing, or is that okay?
I would say it is common, but it's not healthy. Right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be.
Right. Again, we always want to take out the trash, as I like to say.
Oh.
You never want something sealed in a 98-degree room with no windows and doors open. You want to get the trash out, right?
Especially if it's organic, it's
right.
breaking down.
Yeah, we want to get that out every single day, for sure. So I'm also going to take into account fiber intake. How much fiber are you getting in your diet? I'm going to look into hormones. Our sex hormones can actually play a role into our gastrointestinal issues. Like some women, when it's their time of the month or they're having a period, may have really bad diarrhea. Other women may have really bad constipation. I am also going to take into account what the functionality of the gastrointestinal system. So are you able to digest your foods? First and foremost, really important. So making sure that we're having enough stomach acid, our pancreatic has enough, those pancreatic juices. How's our gallbladder? Is our gallbladder working sufficiently?
So how does that contribute? How does the gallbladder, because so many people have it removed, how does it contribute to your digestive system?
Yeah, so our gallbladder is there to really break down fats. So it produces bile, of which we need to break down fats. So sometimes people get their gallbladder removed, and guess what? Nothing changes. Nothing changes. We still need to be able to break those fats down. But for example, if we tend to be a little bit more estrogen driven or estrogen dominant, that can kind of gunk up the works, as I like to say, causing gallbladder sludge or even stones, and that can make our gallbladders not function as well. So folks that tend to have gallbladder issues, that's more on gassiness after meals, burping, expelling gas. They can have, more loose stools or diarrhea. They can see maybe that stools might float. There could be an oily cast to the stool. So again, these are all things that I ask my patients about. Yes, we do talk a lot about poop. Okay.
Well, what goes in what comes out, and hopefully it comes out properly. For people that have had their gallbladder removed, what should they do then? I mean, do they gain more weight because they're not breaking down the fat, or should they modify how they eat?
So food modification can play a significant role.
Okay.
Obviously, we don't want to continue to eat super high-fat meals, fried foods, etc. But again, proper evaluation by your physician or naturopathic doctor can go really, really far. So we can make sure that you're getting the proper recommendations for that gallbladder.
So do you recommend that people keep track of what they're eating and how often they're eating? And
it all depends on really what's going on, where somebody is at when they come to see me with their nutrition. Again, because that greatly varies on what I'm going to ask you to do. So I don't ask everybody to keep a food journal, but for some folks, I absolutely ask
especially
them.
if people are trying to lose weight.
Yeah,
Their
absolutely.
eating habits have everything.
If there is a, not just that in regards to weight, but I joke, but not really. What are you eating? What are you consuming? Where are your hormones at? What about cortisol and stress in your life? Are you getting enough water? Are you getting proper amounts of sleep? How about moving your body? What are you doing to move your body? So I'm taking again all these different things into account, because it's not that simple to just say, oh, I want to lose weight. There's so much more.
Well, we're such a fine-tuned machine.
We are.
I always say your spinal cord is the engine to your body. And there's so many different moving parts that,
absolutely.
I understand why you have to take all of that in. You said something about GERDs.
Gastroesophageal
So why did we never hear about that before, and now we are? Did they just finally discover that's what it is, or?
No, I think it's been going on for a long time. I think more people are suffering from that. Just simply all those things I've already said. What's your water intake like? Are you drinking too much or too little water? How stressful of an existence do you have? Whether that be home, work, life in general, traffic, right? Construction. What is your diet? Look, what are your dietary habits? What are you doing? Are you working out? Is it something internal? Is there a hiatal hernia or a hernia that could be? Do we have a lower esophageal sphincter dysfunction so the little flap, the little flap that is at the bottom of your esophagus that goes to your stomach. With age, it begins to loosen a little bit. Believe it or not. So we do see an older population, can have more trouble with that. But all those things can be evaluated.
And then modifying your diet, that can help?
Oh, 100%. I've seen it countless amounts of time, that simply by modifying diet or maybe taking out something you're sensitive to can absolutely resolve those symptoms.
When we come back, we're going to have to take a minute in a second. When we come back, I'd like to address the Crohn's disease and the one where everybody's allergic to gluten.
Oh, sure.
That's another thing that all of a sudden is an issue in the last 10 years. So we'll talk about that, and then there's much more. So don't go away. We'll be back in a minute.
In today's digital world, it's hard to know who to trust. Your local TV and radio stations bring you the facts. Misinformation and deep fakes flood social media, but broadcasters deliver verified and accurate news. For news, emergency updates, sports, and entertainment, turn to your local stations. Text TV to 52886 and urge Congress to support the vital local journalism broadcasters provide.
Welcome back to our Community Access. I'm Terry Stiles, and I'm with Dr. Mack again, and I'm so excited about that. And a topic that sounds gross to talk about, but I don't know anybody that doesn't have some kind of gastrointestinal issue.
This gal.
You and me both.
No issues here.
All of a sudden, nice. All of a sudden, I'm hearing about GERDs a lot. I'm hearing about Crohn's disease a lot.
Sure.
And I'm hearing about allergic to, or whatever it is, to gluten.
Sure.
Gluten-free diets.
Sure.
Which I have tried some of the gluten-free foods, and actually I feel better after I've eaten it.
Yeah.
So there were years that I would eat those saltine crackers and be miserable afterwards. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to adjust what I'm eating and stay away from the gluten, whatever that is. But let's talk about that. Number one, how do we diagnose that? Or no diagnosis, but what symptoms
Sure.
so we recognize as something that gluten is initiating?
Sure. So let me go back and kind of talk about gluten sensitivity versus celiac disease. Okay. So
They're different?
Yes.
Okay, good to
So
know.
celiac disease is an autoimmune disease that basically what happens. This is what I explain to my patients. Like, this is all on a microscopic level. So we have our intestinal tract, and within the small intestine we have all these cilia. So there's these really fine little areas that help us absorb nutrients and so forth and talk to the rest of our body. So we have all these cilia, right? And they should be nice and lovely. And then when we have celiac disease, what happens is our antibodies, or our own body's cell, will attack the cilia and cause the cilia to atrophy.
Wow,
Yes, exactly. And
crazy.
it can get, in some people, it can get so bad that there's actually ulcerations and bleeding that happen. But that is autoimmune driven in nature. And really, those folks really need to maintain a 100% gluten-free diet. Hands down, no exceptions.
Wow.
Again, because this can be very detrimental to their health. So with celiac disease, I always also make sure that there's not other food intolerances or allergies or sensitivities, because that can also play a role.
Do they usually have a commingling?
Sometimes,
allergy?
yeah. I would say more oftentimes than not.
Wow, isn't that interesting?
And then also making sure that those folks are getting the right nutrients. Again, if we already have that barrier to absorption of nutrients, making sure that you have the right nutrients, and everybody's needs are different based upon life and genetics and etc. So having testing for those markers can be really, really helpful. Now there is non-celiac gluten sensitivity, and Terry, just like you said, that, hey, I tried gluten-free and I feel better when I'm gluten-free. So again, feeling better can be a variety of symptoms. So in practice, I think I've seen many different symptoms of gluten sensitivity. So it's not just all gastrointestinal, which would be bloating. I see diarrhea and I see constipation. So I see the ends of that with gluten sensitivity. We can also get joint pain, brain fog, skin rashes.
I was going to ask you about that.
So, I mean, I've seen so many different things go back to gluten that folks feel better when they stay gluten-free.
Well, what exactly is gluten?
So gluten is the protein that comes in certain grains. So wheat, bran, rye, barley
Really?
that makes bread light and fluffy and so yummy and delicious.
Right.
Right?
Darn it.
So
Yeah.
when we ingest that with celiac disease, our body is actually producing antibodies and attacking that.
God.
So, and again, it attacks those little cilia inside our intestinal
I'm sure
lining.
it causes a lot of pain.
Yes. Oh, can be severe
Okay.
pain.
Yeah.
And then with a sensitivity, that's more a delayed reaction. So it can show up in a few minutes, a few hours, or can be delayed for days and weeks. And I hear with patients too. Sometimes there's a threshold as well. So I can have a little bit of gluten, like they can eat a few crackers or a piece of bread every now and again. But if they eat it several days in a row, they're like, oh, my brain fog definitely came back, or I'm getting that joint pain,
Really?
or I just feel like my joints swell or inflamed, fogginess a
Yeah.
lot. So again, it's a huge variety. But the biggest thing to do, hey, take it out of your diet for 4 to 6 weeks. See if you feel any better.
Okay, so that would be a good amount of time to determine then, 4 to 6 weeks. Wow.
That's
Isn't
a
that
decent
something?
amount of time.
Yeah. And then is there, with celiacs, is there any way to reverse that autoimmune?
No. There's no way to reverse it. No.
Wow.
No. That goes from conventional standpoint. We don't. There's not a prescription drug out there, or a more natural way. I mean, yes, there are some enzymes that can be helpful for non-celiac gluten sensitivity, but we have to remember that's just covering up the problem. When people come to see me, I go for a root cause. Sometimes if we eat gluten, these enzymes specific for gluten can really help with some of the symptoms, but underneath it all, it's still creating inflammation. So, in the end, if somebody is sensitive or allergic or has celiac disease, should they be eating gluten? My vote is no. My vote is
and
they should probably stay away from that.
Coming up with really good alternatives.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great alternatives. Again, it's not going to be that typical taste. It is a little bit different, but they get better and better all the time.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. I have the girl that cuts my hair, her niece has celiac. And she said, there's some of the stuff out there I eat just because it's good. So you just have to do a little bit of research, right?
You do, and play around, just like everything else. Where somebody may not like chicken, but they really like turkey, or I like salmon and tuna, but I really don't like shrimp or crab. Same thing. It's in the end, it's pretty much just another grain that we would be consuming.
That we or that we need to cut out. Real quick, because I think we have a few minutes left. Again, go through a patient's initial visit real quick.
Yeah,
they just have to call you and give you.
So I do offer a complimentary 15-minute long discovery call. Generally, I start out with a 2-part initial visit. The first time we meet is an hour and a half. So I go through a history, go through all your concerns, family medical history, and then I do order labs. So you get the labs done between that first and second visit. When you come back in for that second half, usually 3 to 4 weeks later, that's another hour work together. I call that the report of findings. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to report my findings. So we're going to go through those labs. I'll explain to you, here's what all this means, like here's what's happening in your body or your physiology, and then I come up with a game plan for you.
You don't just kick them out the door. So your telephone number for them to get a hold of you?
So our number is 248-274-6516.
I've talked to a lot of her patients, and they all say, you need to go to Janelle, Dr. Mack. And so, give her a call if you're curious. Geez, it's a 15-minute phone call.
Yep.
We all have time for our health, or we should. And if we
Absolutely.
don't, we need to make time. So thank you for joining us again, and she will be back, I promise.
Absolutely.
Take care.